Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. I almost totally forgot. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas I like. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Elementary. So in this episode, we had the basically it was like a double murder, except it was made to look like one of the guys, Jared, killed. Well, the guy Butch was trying to carjack the guy Jared, but during the process, they ended up killing each other. That's what it's set up to look like. But they find out that it is, in fact, a staged murder because of everything. I thought it was very interesting that Bell was the one who figured it out. I mean, he's the one that noticed that it was staged. I'm surprised that Sherlock didn't comment on it, because he usually comments on stuff like that. Like, oh, your power of observation is getting better or something like that. Because it happened before, and Sherlock kind of took credit for it. It's like, essentially, he didn't say it in direct words, but it's basically like, oh, I'm making you a better detective or something. I'm helping you reach your fullest potential or something like that. Like I said, not in those exact words, but something of that nature. What I really liked is the constant, like of who could have done it. And it seems like Davis did it, because actually he did set it up. He hired Butch to kill Jared. But the thing is, Jared had faked his death, because essentially he talked Butch into not killing him, and so they could basically blackmail his partner Davis, because they were basically in the business and the business was falling apart. Davis actually had that little, I forgot what it was, like his property. It was a property he had kind of hidden away that Jared hadn't been a part of. Essentially, he was growing up. It was a land with a whole bunch of, I forgot what the certain type it was, but it's like a certain type of ginseng that's worth like $1,400 per pound, which is crazy. And go with like the vast amount of it on that property, Sherlock estimated is about $20 million worth. It's like, wow, that's pretty insane. It seems like it was him, maybe he hired a second, hitman to take care of both of them, because he found out they were blackmailing him. It's like, no, that's not the case. He didn't know about that. He was actually going to pay Butch. Butch didn't show up to receive his money, sadly, because he was dead. Turns out the real killer was his Jared's wife, because essentially he was basically going to take the money and run, going to leave his life behind. And his wife found out about it and got upset, and she killed him and tried to stage everything, but she made a lot of mistakes. Like, she put the gun in Butch's wrong hand. Also, when she shot her husband shot the gun inside the car trying to set it up, like trying to make there be gun residue on her husband's hand, it recoiled and she knocked the diamond out of her ring, which is how that happened. I knew it, like, when they saw that security photo, because she said she wasn't anywhere in town. I think she said she was in Vermont or something while her husband was being murdered, but they saw like a ticket of a picture of her, like, somewhere in the exact area that he died around the time of his murder, and she had the ring on. I knew that was going to come into play, but I was like, I didn't really understand how. It's like very interesting that was the thing. I feel like that's such a thing you would probably never catch in real life, like a diamond amongst shattered glass. I feel like that's something so easy to miss. I mean, I don't know, because I guess because I'm stupid, because I'm not a cop. I've never been around cops, so I don't really. I watch plenty of crime dramas, but it seemed like bagging glass as evidence didn't seem like it'd be that important. But then again, there's shattered glass from the bullet going through, so they have to probably reconstruct it to show you where. I don't know. It's necessary evidence, I know, but it's just something weird I would have never thought about. Truth be told is, I thought, because Jared had made up that whole situation to that he was basically going to leave. It was someplace he had set up in Tahiti. Essentially, Butch's girlfriend thought it was him taking the money and running, and so she burnt down their house. I thought, because I was under the impression that he set that name up, that fake name, which turned out to be like a slight twist on Jared's name, because his middle name is Mirren, and he changed his last name to Taft. But I was like, oh, like in my brain, because I'm me and I'm stupid, I was thinking like, oh no, that sounds like a girl's name. Don't ask me why. I was like, oh, it's a woman's name. I thought that's what Sherlock was going to say, and that he was basically setting it up so that she was the only one that was going to go. But it was like, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. because it's only set up for only one person. But like instantly thought that, oh, when she found out about it, it was Butch who did that. He was going to leave her and burn the house down. Suddenly, Butch was I mean, Sherlock was like, yeah, he's not a good person, but it's sad she burned that house down for nothing because he wasn't going to leave her. He was probably going to get the job done, get paid for it, and come back to her. And probably really was going to marry. Probably did take the money because he wanted to buy her a ring, because he loved her. So it's a little funny in a messed up type of way. Another big part in this episode is Joan still using her mole, and she ended up finding information because Sherlock was under the impression that the guy that shot Moreland's girlfriend, Sabine, the one that was supposed to kill him, Sherlock found out that guy wasn't in the prison that he was in anymore, and that he assumed his dad had him, but it turns out Moreland doesn't have him. The guy broke out of prison I think what was it, like a month ago, and Moreland is paying off a lot of people trying to find where he is. That's what she ends up finding out. And the guy's like, okay, we're done, right? And Watson's like, no, we're not done. I'll basically tell you when we're done. They meet up again. And it was an interesting thing, how Moreland was basically setting a trap. Basically, there were these kind of memos that they needed to print out, or this paperwork or whatever that they needed to print out. And basically, he put these spaces in different places throughout the printout, because basically, whichever of these went to like his competitors or whatever, depending on where the space was, that's how he'd know who was the one who is the mole in the company. And it's like, that's a very sly, genius way, because I feel like no one would really notice something like that. They look at the document and be like, oh, that's a typo, it's fine, it must happen by accident. It's like, unless you're really careful about it, you wouldn't have noticed something like that. So that was pretty genius, because Watson pieced it together. That's what he was doing, and so did that guy. That's why he came to Watson like, this is the last time. Essentially, he was basically like, it's going to get us both killed. Interesting enough, Moreland shows up at the house looking for something. He told Sherlock that he was looking for something, that he'd stop by. I mean, he let himself in, and Watson knew why he was there. She still didn't let him, because she kept it, like, this whole thing from Sherlock, which is like, why? Like, better than anyone, Sherlock would, I don't know. Sherlock would probably handle this situation differently, having someone spy on his dad. I don't know, Sherlock probably wouldn't even go along with it anyway, because he'd probably think like, yeah, having someone spy on my dad is just going to get them killed. Because home dude at the end of the episode ended up getting killed. Which is just like, wow. Apparently it was a robbery gone wrong, but it's like, we saw that the guy who was Jones' mole is one of the victims, and it's like, he essentially, most likely, either it was a guy that he has hired, like, that works on his security, or someone he's hired in the past, or maybe it was someone who was just a criminal, like maybe a junkie or something, to rob the place. But he like had him kill and hurt a lot of people. There's like a lady that got hit, that they were like, yeah, one of the cops on scene was like, yeah, I don't think she's gonna make it. Like, he went through all that just to make sure that this one guy died, and it didn't seem like a purposeful, like, it didn't seem like what it was, a hit. That just shows you how dangerous Moreland is. He's willing to kill anyone to kind of cover up what he's doing, and it's like, wow. So essentially, he did find out what he was doing. He probably knows Joan is involved, but he probably doesn't know what Joan knows. And side note too, he can't really outright kill Joan, because that'll get, like, if something happens to Joan, Sherlock will be coming after him full force. And it's like, Sherlock's not the type of person you want to have as a nemesis. But it's like, holy crap, dude. And at the very end of the episode, with like Watson finding out, I mean, granted, she won't find out to the next episode, obviously, but it's like, I'm surprised they hadn't squeezed that in at the very end of the episode, and her kind of having a shocked look on her face, and Sherlock was like, what's wrong with you? And then she finally explains. But I do wonder, why didn't she bring Sherlock in on this, though? I guess, truth be told, is she didn't want to get Sherlock involved. It's just like, I don't know, I really don't know what her reasoning for not involving him was. I guess it's something she wanted to handle on her own, get as much dirt on Moreland as she possibly can, then go to Sherlock, because she probably knew Sherlock would want to go up against his dad, but she wanted to make sure he was fully stocked before he went up against them. Sadly, Moreland is a pretty clever guy. He stays pretty well informed. I did like the joke of when Watson told Sherlock that Moreland had stopped by. He's like, I'll have to change the lock and set some traps. It's like, what kind of traps would Sherlock set for his dad? It seems like something that would be very painful, I think. And this episode, kind of shows you like, I feel like we've seen it multiple times, especially when he was essentially he was threatening that cop who is like, I'm going to tell Sherlock, the truth about why you're really here. And basically he was like, that other associate of yours, what happened to him? And he's like, for goodness sake, Moreland, his children found him. So it's like, that was a testament showing you how bad he is. This is even more proof of it. It's like we get an actual visual look at what he's in. Like I said, he literally had everyone almost, he had like the guy to register. There was like one or two people that were injured, plus that guy, all for the purpose of killing that one guy, but to make it look like a random robbery gone wrong rather than a hit like it was. So, but we're going to see where this whole situation goes next time. I saw little minuscule amounts of the preview, so I know Watson probably tells Sherlock, or not unless she's still keeping secrets. I don't know. I feel like at this point with the mole dying, she knows she has to tell Sherlock. So, because I try to avoid watching too many previews of the next episodes, I like to kind of try and go in those blind now. But every once in a while, I do kind of catch them a little bit, because mainly I try to watch them just to make sure I know ahead of time whether or not the next episode is coming out next week or a week from now or 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. I mean, most times I really don't have to worry about that, because it's I'm going to look up the dates anyway when I look up the title of the episode, so I can find thumbnail pictures. So, but I mean, that's not necessary information, just something I felt like including. But that's really all I want to talk about in this episode. So till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.